Talk to the friends. I quick Dr. Love. Facebook went live.
Facebook just went live.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to give you guys about 15 seconds to get yourselves organized because I've got to drop some heavy science on everybody, and I want everybody to catch it right from the beginning. So I know it's around dinner time, and I don't even know what today it is. Tuesday. It's the second day of the year. So this is pretty major. This is pretty important information. So we're ready in about 10 seconds. And we're going to do a countdown.
10,
9, 8, 7,
6,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, and we're ready.
And we're live.
We're live. So
And
this is actually the main
we got
camera.
live. And we have an FAU student who's also a fitness trainer and my very, very close friend and associate and also a Qigong student.
Yes.
And his name was Edward
Gills.
Edward Gills.
And I have the pleasure to be here with Dr. Love. And we're spitting some knowledge on you guys today. Well, he's spitting most of the knowledge.
So Eddie came to me, and so we met about a year plus ago, and he's a fitness trainer. He's at the beach. I'm at the beach doing Qigong, and I see him every day training hard, and I keep saying, one day I got to talk to that guy. One day I got to talk to that guy. And then finally that day came, and we got together. So I'm a fitness trainer. I trained at New York Health and Racquet Club. But before there was a certification called fitness training, that was me. So I was doing that back in the early 80s, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86. That's what I was doing. So I had a running program, biking program, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, high kicks, low hurdles, you name it, swimming, tennis. I did it all.
Yeah.
So, and then I discovered Qigong after all of that. I had a bike accident. I was doing about 30 miles an hour on my bike. I went down, I slid 60 feet, gashed a hole in my leg, stripped all the flesh to the bone. It took like a year and a half for my leg to heal. So no more biking for me, no more roller skating for me. So I had to figure out how to move the energy through my body. So through my own recovery process, I discovered joint rotational exercises. So I saw Eddie, and he was doing these fitness training. I didn't want to say anything because he's very earnest and he's very serious. He's dedicated to his craft. So I said, Eddie, why don't you come and take one of my classes, and I can show you some different things. And then he came to me and he said, Doc, is it okay if I use some of your exercises in my fitness? I said, of course it is. I want you to do that. So I really want to talk about joint rotational exercises, but we're going to save that for another video. Mm-hmm. Today we're going to talk about exercise physiology. Now, what is exercise physiology? Well, I looked it up on the internet because it sounds cool, but you want to have exact terms. It's the science of measuring how exercise affects the heart, lung, muscles, tissues, and cells. The science of measuring how exercise affects the heart, the lungs, the muscles, the tissues, and the cells. That sounds way cool, but that fits right under my umbrella of medical Qigong, because medical Qigong works through the meridians and the muscles and the organs and the emotions. Wow, if that isn't heart, lung, tissue, cells. Okay, so the word is called perfusion, and that's how blood flows through to the tissues. Now, if you walk, climb steps, open jars, open cabinets, lift boxes at the post office, you're doing very mild exercise, and there should be mild blood perfusion. However, if you're a couch potato, if you hate to exercise, if you think that exercise is waiting until the mood hits you, then you're going to have poor blood perfusion. And that leads to something called ischemia. So an ischemia is a condition, it's not a disease, it's a condition that will lead to various heart problems. What's the number one cause of death, Eddie?
The heart disease. Yeah. It is that.
So, what can we do as medical Qigong practitioners to increase blood perfusion to prevent ischemia? We just have to keep doing it. We just got doing it well. Doing it well. So we just got to keep the Qi. Now, the American Academy of Sports Medicine says there's 3 types of exercise. One is endurance training. What's endurance training?
Well, endurance training involves
running.
Yeah, running. Biking,
swimming, like Ironman, triathlon. That's
yeah,
endurance
usually
training.
a longer period of time it takes.
Okay. Marathon.
Yeah.
That 15K, whatever. All right.
10K.
So then the next one is called resistance training.
Yeah.
So what's resistance training?
So resistance training involves things like using handheld weights. So isometric
bars.
And isometric movements.
And then there's isometric exercises. So endurance, resistance, and isometric. So isometric means it's a static holding, okay? So we're isolating, so like you're pushing against a door, that would be isometric, okay? Now there's something called plyometrics. What's plyometrics?
Well, it's pretty much working in different planes.
And it's using your body weight to build muscle. So you're not lifting something else, you're using your own body weight. So it's like doing a push-up with one leg in the air, or it's jumping on one leg, okay? So that's plyometrics. And that's not even in the Academy of Sports Medicine, but that's just one of the things. All right, so now the National Institute of Health, which is called the NIH, publishes material about different aspects of health. And one of them was, how can we lower blood pressure? Is it endurance training? Is it resistance training? Is it isometric? So, problems arise. Now, there's something called diastolic, and there's something called systolic. Now, do you know anything about blood pressure?
I do, but I'll let you
But
explain
not a
it.
lot. Okay.
Not a lot.
But not a lot. Okay. So diastolic is the high number, the 120.
Yeah.
The systolic is the low number, which is the 80. So they say 120 over 80. However, the measurement for hypertension is 130 over 90. So they know that this high number, the diastolic, responds to endurance, resistant, and isometric. But the low number doesn't respond. So now they go back and they peruse the literature a second time, and then they found out that the isometric training lowered the lower number. So now you've got endurance and resistance that lowers the high number, but isometrics lowers the low number. Now, guess what I discovered, Eddie?
What did you discover?
That there's balls, they're Chinese balls.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I'm sure you've seen them. They're called Tingsha bells or whatever they're called. Chinese health balls. And they like ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. And they're cloisonné. They're painted with art. And they make these little sounds. And they're very lightweight. So what I discovered is that the heavy balls, the really heavy ones, are the only ones that are medically, medicinally have a value. So you have to use the heavy balls. So this is the isometric exercise. And then we can reverse that. So we did studies and we found out that if you do 10 minutes in one direction and then 10 minutes in the other direction, it does more to lower the low number than an hour in the gym.
And why is that?
Because it's isometric, because you're isolating the muscles in the center of the palm. Now you have a radial pulse, which is in line with the thumb, and then you have a brachial pulse, which is in line with the little finger. So the radial pulse and the brachial pulse meet in the neck. Now when you measure blood pressure, typically you put a cuff above the elbow and you measure the brachial pulse. But when the doctor does it, which is very rare unless you're a doctor of Chinese medicine like me, you do the radial pulse. So radial pulse, brachial pulse. Now, again, trial and error, they figured out that the blood pressure in the radial, in the wrist can be identified 5 years ahead of time before the brachial pulse even picks it up. Now let me run that past you again. We have a whole medical system, and this medical system is based upon measuring your blood pressure. Now, high blood pressure is a non-disease. It is a measurement in a category called sub-health. And blood pressure and heart rate measure blood perfusion. So this makes sense. I want to measure your blood pressure and your heart rate. Now, as a medical doctor, I might want that information, and I might want to track that over 2, 3, 4, 5 years so that I can prescribe medication to control that so it doesn't develop into a disease. Now, here comes the crux of the problem. I can control it with medication, but exercise is just as effective as drugs. Now, Eddie.
Yeah.
What if your patients, your clients came to you and said, I have high blood pressure, what should I do? What would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them I'm not a doctor. I would tell them to start exercising with me.
You tell them to start exercising, okay?
Yeah, that's my medication.
You don't have to be a doctor to measure blood pressure at all. They do it in the drugstore with non-trained personnel.
Well, you know, the reason why I said that was because I did go to the National Academy for Sports Medicine to get my certification.
Ding!
But they always specify, of course, I measure the blood pressure.
Mm-hmm. Which is part of your training.
Yeah, it's part of my training. But they always specify that that's it. You know, just okay, that's it. The exercise is what you're focused on. So forget the nutrition aspect. Forget yeah. Wow. You said you're not qualified enough to do this. That's what it says. So
okay, we'll come back to the nutrition in a minute. But the American Academy of Sports Medicine trained him in fitness and said, measure the blood pressure and recommend exercise, which is perfect.
Yeah.
So Chinese medicine says, measure the pulse, and if the second position is higher than the first position, then that person has high blood pressure, and therefore recommend medical Qigong exercises. Now, here's the confusion. Let me bring it back to the point.
Okay.
The confusion is that no one can agree how much exercise, whether resistance, endurance, or isometric, how many minutes, the dosage, whether you're fat fit, high body mass index, but high muscle strength. And based upon the different sizes, shapes, physical qualities, physical temperaments, and physical conditioning, they cannot come up with a guideline to recommend specific exercise for specific health programs, leading to blood perfusion, leading to lowering blood sugar, lowering blood pressure, lowering blood fat. Ding. Hold that thought. So, as a medical Qigong professional, instructor, healer, therapist, and doctor of Chinese medicine, I can prescribe specific exercises and the amount of times and the amount of hours per week. Whether it's swimming, dancing, biking, skating, swimming, jumping, climbing, rowing, skating, running, or medical Qigong. I can do that because I've been trained that way, and Western medicine has not. So they're having controversy over coming up with some type of charting diagram, and I've already got that. So I'm challenging you to get with me, whether you have high blood pressure, diabetes, or carrying 20 extra pounds. Whether you have a non-disease or whether you want to recover from a chronic disease, we can help. So I'm training Eddie how to use his fitness background and use his new training in medical Qigong, so he will then be able to prescribe Qigong exercises for you.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
Sounds great. And my main thing was always mixing up the different strands of fitness, you know. I was picking some from yoga, picking some from sports, picking swimming here and there, pool exercises. So I wanted to always put all of those together. So I think this is like the perfect thing, really.
So, sub-health, non-disease. We eliminate conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, non-disease, and obesity, high fat. Okay? That's what we do. That is our purview, and Western medicine agrees with us. How ironic. Western medicine, Chinese medicine, in accordance, in sync, on the same page, and you are the beneficiary of that. So we're at the beach Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday, 7:30. Now, what about if you want to do it online? What if you live in Lake Wobegon? What if you live in Oshkosh, Manitoba? What if you live in another country? You can access us online. And I can't wait to share the rest of this information with you. We've got 2 more heavy subjects to lay on you, but you'll have to catch them in the next video. I'm Dr. George Love for the Blue Dragon Qigong Academy, and
I'm Edward Gills from Flex Fitness and Performance.
And together, we're the Blue Dragons.
Bringing Qigong to the world.
The world needs Qigong.
America needs Qigong.
America needs Qigong. All right.
All right. That's it.
So